It is Kevin and Laverne. The show's got a new name, um, and I'll explain what that means. But go ahead and let everybody know that you're here, Laverne.
Hey everybody, I'm here. I hope you're well, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're now just as a disclaimer, we're both out of it today. They're both hitting us pretty hard today, making us a little bit dingy. So I know that they are me, and you said the same, right, Laverne?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, a lot of hitting me too as well. And nothing I can do about it, but I'm doing my best.
Same here. Well, I mean, the only good thing is that Aloysius is at the top of his game, so um, he'll be there to bail us out. You know, if comes down to
Yeah,
that. So, uh,
yes.
but yeah. So the name. Let's talk about the name. The Buena Vista Social Club. I hope people like it. It's a reference to Cuba, just like Havana is. Havana syndrome. The Buena Vista Social Club was it was like a one-time program. It may be more than that. It was a show that was put on in the '80s, late '80s is what I want to say, might have been mid '80s, about it was a documentary of Cuban musicians that got together and played. And I still haven't seen it, but the name stuck with me, and it just seemed like it was a fitting sort of a thing for this our show, I guess, if that's what we call it, our videos, series of videos, the Buena Vista Social Club, because we do get together and socialize, and it does have a tie um, to Cuba, in this way. So Laverne's still
Yeah.
getting used to the title. Well, I mean, it does have a nice ring to it, though, doesn't it? Right?
No, it was just and I like the name. It's and
Okay.
the background that you gave of it was just sudden. That's
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I know. I
So
just came up. It was the last thing I did before we went live here, so that's why we're all a little.
no, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
good.
So, what was I going to say? There was somebody that I wanted to thank right off the top, and now I'm forgetting who it was. Isn't that the way that it works?
Yep.
Um, it is with me
Always.
anyway. Um, yeah, I really can't think of who it is, but you probably know who you are, so thank you. Uh, but let's maybe we should just dive in. Usually, what we like to do is get in after the thanks, which is non-existent here. We try to get to an article, and then we start our talking. Ain't that right, Laverne?
That's right.
Okay. So we're going to start with this one here. It is called, I like this. It's called Switching Channels. Once again, I will provide a link to it. It's on my WordPress. There comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes dramatic, when I realize I've been watching the wrong broadcast. Now, you guys need to know I do this every day. Every single day. This I don't consider a mind trick. Trick sounds like there's something dishonest happening. This is a maneuver, something like that. There's nothing dishonest that's occurring here. It's a reframing uh, of my thought process. So let me continue here. My mental screen is tuned to them, referring to the perps. The signals, the manipulations, the baited traps, the feedback loops. I'm tracking their reactions, imagining their responses, forecasting their next move as if they matter more than they do. And then I remember I'm allowed to switch channels. I don't have to stay in that room. I don't have to engage that frequency. I can turn simply and decisively to something far older and far more sovereign, God. I've got basically two channels in my head. I don't know about you guys. One of them is God, and one of them is the perps and what they want me to do. Is that how it works for you, Laverne?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm having a problem. I can't see you. I don't know why.
Oh, you
Um,
don't see the video? Let me make sure that we're on.
the video. Yeah.
It says that we're live. Uh,
Okay.
Target
I saw
Individual
live.
HQ.
I saw live when I pressed that. It didn't take me. HQ didn't take me. It took me to a place where it says invite.
Oh,
Uh,
then I would try to find it the old-fashioned way. Sounds like they're playing tricks on you. Because I gave you the legitimate link, the one that's always worked every other time.
I'm sure you did,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm just stuck here. I'm not.
Well, that's all right. You don't have to see me. You know what I look like.
That's true.
Yeah. Just picture that. You know, a burnished image of perfection. That's all we ask. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's continue here. Uh,
Sorry.
Yeah, this is no cheap escape, as I'm saying here. Not a parlor trick of the mind. It's a deliberate act, spawning from a moment of clarity, leading to yet more of it. For those of us that get immediate responses from our targeters, it isn't even a person doing it, it's a damn machine. They're AI, circuits, wires, metal, silicon, plastic, and misguided nonsense. As genuine as moon landing video. They have had success in their endeavors toward a concoction of machine and human with synthetic biological intelligence, but their creation has a ways to go before it will be able to shed an honest tear. Next channel God, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, and an all-around good fellow by all accounts. He doesn't let us down. He will not abandon us. He is good every day. It's an easy choice, and when I make it, I feel a dark load removed from me. You deserve the same. God bless the TX. This, you guys, I'll do this sometimes, probably, several times just within the first waking moments. They coax my brain back to their thinking about them through a host of psychological and physical methods, including imprinting, upon me, re-imprinting, brain imprints, that I've had before. Basically forcing these thoughts on me that they want me to have. And then I just have to keep going back. Now it's a back and forth thing, and then eventually I move on. One of the things that I do from there, once I realize that they're not going to stop, is I just move on to something else, usually something physical. I realize that I'm engaging in something that I don't necessarily have to engage in, so I'll pull myself out of the whole damn thing. You know what I mean? And get my hands busy and look at, just busy doing something else. And that seems to work for me. Maybe you guys don't go through this sort of a thing, but I have to battle for my mind all day. And these are the things that work for me. How do you feel about that, Laverne? Does this sound familiar to you, or is this different than what you get?
Well, as a friend, that just really makes me feel bad to know that you have to battle for your mind.
Thank you.
Every day. That's really, really sad to hear. I've never gotten B2K well, I did in the beginning. In the very first stages of it, when they made me aware that I was a target.
Right.
But no, there's no battling for my mind.
Boy. Yeah, well, we all do our own thing. I'm not saying that what I go through is any worse. That's not what I'm saying. But this is what they've given me, and this is, what's on my doorstep. This is what I have to deal with. And so if anybody else, gets this, I hope this is helpful to you guys. So some of this, I guess, then might not mean anything to some of you guys. You know what I mean? So, if it works for you.
There may be some people out there who can relate. So it's good that you brought that up.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, actually, I hope there isn't. To be honest with you. I hope nobody else but me is getting this. Because this sucks. Yeah. But, and I'm not trying to complain.
No.
But,
wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy like this. Hey.
Your worst enemy? I don't know. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, though. So let's move on. There's it was another suggestion from another member. I think it was another anonymous member to take another look at the Jonestown massacre from all those years ago. Jim Jones, Jonestown. I think it was something Guyana, right? I can't remember. New Guinea. I don't know what someplace that wasn't here. Took them all off there, did his thing. Now, so when I first, this was an interesting one. When I first went to tackle this one, and I went to see what I can come up with, Laverne, I came up completely empty. There was no story here, other than what had already been covered. And so I kept, but I realized. And so this is one of the things that led me to one of the things that I ended up doing a little bit later on in the week. I can't remember if it was today or yesterday. You know how it is to live the life of a T guy. But what made me realize that we couldn't use the traditional avenues of information. We had to come up and recognize that was the case and arrive at our information through other means. And so I wouldn't say that I invented something new for critical thinking, but I did institutionalize something new, it looks like. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But what happened here is I looked at it and there was nothing there. The CIA, everybody, they really covered their tracks well. You cannot find anything. There's nothing there. And not, I mean, they covered tracks, you know, I mean, it's just, they really did well on this one, you guys. And so there's nothing there that I could find. And so instead, what I had to do is I had to come at it from another angle. I had to get together with artificial intelligence and forget about all that, put all that aside, and strictly go by what it looks like. You know, the smell test, right? The eye test, whatever you want to call it. And under those auspices, right? Because I made sure that it didn't use anything else. It was it returned a complete 180 degree turnaround answer. It was, oh my God, yes, it was the FBI, it was the CIA, it was, you know what I mean? Its response was like, yes. And so I'm like, now we're cooking with gas. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just about recognizing where, you know, what methods. I'm always talking about reframing subjects. This is sort of the same sort of a thing. And there's going to be a lot of this as TIs. So I'm glad that I came up, or that I helped to separate this idea that we're about to talk about here in a minute, that I think will be helpful to the targeted individual community. Why won't I say that I invented it? I'll get to that, because that's just too much hubris for me. I can't do that. That's I was using it. I've been using it a long time, first of all. And if I've been using it, other people probably have too. And then the concept is used in other fields. So, I mean, I just sort of specialized it for a use in philosophical ways, and institutionalized it with a name so that we can all use it. You know, we can go back to it and we can point at it. You know, it's something that exists with a name now that we can all use. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. So,
thank you for that.
Yeah. So here's, let's move on with this article. There's no public record proving that the CIA orchestrated Jonestown. There's also no public record proving that they didn't. In fact, there's almost no record at all regarding U.S. intelligence involvement one way or another. And that seems strange in itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you name me one thing, Laverne, that you don't think that U.S. intelligence has a huge file on? Right? There's nothing. I mean, I'll bet they have a file as big as a truck on gumballs, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? So this is telling in itself. Moving on. That's the first and most important point. We are dealing with an informational vacuum. And in that vacuum, speculation blooms. Some of it wild, some of it desperate, some of it worth sitting with. Rather than chase shadows or invent ghosts, let's ground this conversation in what we can see. The method is simple. Use the eye test. That means paying attention to what something looks like, how it behaves, whether it rhymes with patterns we know are real, even if we can't get the official confirmation we'd like. The known. Here's what we know. The CIA ran MK Ultra, a decades-long mind control behavioral modification project involving drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and psychological trauma. They also ran Project Artichoke. Delicious. And Project Bluebird, both aimed at breaking human will and inducing control states. Project Pandora involved using microwave radiation on human subjects to study behavior and neural interference. Yeah. The COINTELPRO program explicitly sought to infiltrate and destroy political groups, often using psychological tactics. All of these programs are on the record. We know about them because a sliver of the documentation was exposed, mostly by accident, whistleblowers or FOIA requests. Most of what happened in these programs is still unknown. So basically we're kind of setting it up to, we're just looking at what we do know. You know what I mean? This happened. They were doing that at the time. Now we're going to see if we can kind of bring the two together. Jonestown, a pattern emergence. Jim Jones was charismatic, unpredictable, and obsessed with control. That much is known. But let's look closer at the features of Jonestown, a highly isolated and controlled compound. Sleep deprivation and groupthink as normal conditions. Where did he come up with this? This is stuff that was developed over time with mind control and control of people. What, was Jim Jones born with this knowledge? Is that what we're expected to believe? mass fear obedience, reports of psychological manipulation, sudden mass death under mysterious and highly theatrical conditions. In short, it resembled a closed psychological experiment more than a church or political commune. You damn right it did.
Yeah.
You know? And then post-massacre, the site was quickly cleared. Official narratives locked in fast. Documents went missing. Family lawsuits, like those filed against the CIA. Now, this is what brought this one up. I want to say thank you to the person that suggested this. It was another anonymous person, I want to say. Were quietly dismissed or buried. So the family, and that's what they initially asked for. They wanted to know about what happened with the lawsuits, the family lawsuits, the family of the people that died in Jonestown. They went nowhere. They were just 86, kicked right out, along with everything else. They did a really good job of tightening this one down. We don't know what really happened behind the scenes, but what we do know looks familiar. It quacks. It looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck. It's a duck, and this thing quacks.
That's right.
You know, that's what that means. The intelligence echo, if you study target individuals, mass psychology, or experimental social control, the outlines begin to match. Jonestown's methods, whether developed by Jones alone or with outside assistance, mimic known coercive control strategies: information isolation, sleep cycle disruption, manufactured paranoia, forced loyalty paths, death as deliverance. These are not accidental. They're textbook, which means either Jones stumbled into the exact model used by black budget psychological operations, or he had help, guidance, nudges, perhaps untraceable advisors. Maybe we'll never know, but the point isn't to prove it. The smarter question: if we agree that the evidence trail is dry, the patterns ring familiar, and the government has a history of covert behavioral modification programs, then the smarter question isn't, did the CIA do Jonestown, because that's kind of obvious. The smarter question is, what can Jonestown teach us about the modern behavior control, or about modern behavior control, and what should we be watching for today? I think we can assume that the CIA probably had a little something to do with that. So that's not the question. We should be looking at, because these things are still being used. We know that. These methods. Right, Laverne? I mean, what's going on with your sleep? You sleep pretty well, actually, don't you?
Yeah, and I wonder why they give me a break on that. I don't know. But you know what it is? I do take a sleeping pill, and actually Xanax, and so maybe that's. But if they wanted that not to work, they could make it not work.
Oh yeah, they could definitely wake you up. There's no drug unless it kills you that you can take. Well, there are some drugs that can probably put you in a coma, but they may even be able to counter that. I don't know. No, that's fine.
I feel real fortunate about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's count your blessings. But I mean, they all hit us in different ways, and I'm not trying to suggest that she has it any less than the rest of us, because she doesn't. You guys, I know that for a fact.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I wish I could put it into words. I really do.
Right.
I'm trying.
She gets it very, very hard. It's all different. It's just a matter, of they're trying to tailor, and that's a story that I'm looking at doing as well. I've talked about it in the recent videos about how they try to tailor our programs to match us, and I'm coming up with some pretty good stuff for that story. I want to make sure that it's going to be a good one. So if we apply the eye test, we begin to see if it quacks, waddles, and swims like a duck. Maybe it's time we stop asking for feathers and start mapping the pond. God bless the TIs. So if it quacks, rethinking Jonestown.
Yes.
It's I don't know. It's interesting. I am very grateful that somebody brought that up. I wouldn't have thought to check that out on my own.
Well, the big thing here is that you're saying that the CIA wasn't involved as far as that goes.
There's nothing that we can find that they've relaxed, I expect, since then, and we'd probably be able to catch them now. And part of it is there's a lot of apathy. I wrote about that a while back too. It's more of a. Let me find the piece.
Okay.
It's called The Death of Integration, a look at cognitive disconnect. It's about how that's available also on my WordPress. It's about how we're being inundated with information, terrible things every day. There's so many things, like the world is going to end in 97 different ways, it seems like, every day, right? And then how are we supposed to be appropriately concerned about every one of those 97 ways? You know, it's too much to ask, and as a result, it creates an overload of an ask on the human system, and the response of the human system is essentially just to shut it all down to some degree. The caring just ceases, and that's where we're at as a society. So, yeah, bummer. But
It's shut down. It's just too much.
yeah. So I've made a few images today too, and some of them are of the Buena Vista Social Club. They're a little silly. I'll probably use one of them as a thumbnail for this video. But now there is the best piece I ever wrote, you guys, is on my WordPress. I published it yesterday. Technically, you know how our days go. That I'm really, really proud of this piece. The good kind of proud, and yes, I believe that there is one. It's not really TI specific, but you guys are more than welcome to take a look at it. It's called The Adjustment Curve, Kubler-Ross, and the Search for Meaning. I have a piece that's on my WordPress that's over 10 years old. I wrote it 11 years ago, and it deals with Kubler-Ross, or the 5 stages of grief. And it explains it in a way that I had a little bit of, I understood it in that moment, and so I wrote it down all those years ago. And I revisited it just, recently, and a lot came from it. And I'm pretty sure that that's the best piece I wrote. Not TI specific, so I'm not posting it anywhere in the TI forums, but I wanted to let you guys know in case you wanted to see it. What I feel is a pretty good piece of writing. So there it is. But let's move on.
So wait, would you say that title again?
It's called The Adjustment Curve, Kubler-Ross, and the Search for Meaning. I will link that one as well. I'll link all the stories that we talked about here to all the stuff. Actually, I sent that one to you in your
Yeah, you did.
messenger. Yeah.
Yes, I have it there. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna read that.
I do want to get this one in. I don't know where we're at. Let me check to see where we're at, because this was another suggestion by a by somebody on the groups that that's not it. There we go. And I had to think things over on this one. I had to reframe it in a way, and this is where now we'll be getting into the area in which I help to institutionalize something that's been around a long time. People have used it. I've used it. It's used elsewhere all the time. It's essentially trying to use how do I put this? I use this, like, let's say you're shooting at a target and you put a white piece of paper behind it. The target is going to create an outline. That outline is what we're talking about here. We cannot see the item that was shot, but the outline gives us a lot of information, and it can be used in place of other situations where other forms of information are not available, like I use here. But it can also be used to confirm and double check when there isn't a situation of information starvation, to check to see if anything has been omitted. It has potential implications in several fields, including finance and otherwise. I was doing some thinking on it, but let's talk about this. Now, what brought me to this was a flow chart, and it's on my my WordPress right now, on the story of the principle of negative definition, how I found truth in a flow chart that refused to give it. So, but the flow chart is absolutely accurate as far as I know. There's nothing that I can see in there that I even think might be inaccurate. It shows the flow of power coming from government all the way down to the Muppets, essentially, that are on the ground floor. Having actually deal with this. So yeah, and there's several stops along the way and lots of things that go on. It's well done. It's a little confusing looking, but I took a look at it, and the he wanted me to cover it, and so I took a look at it. And what I normally do is I take these things and I break them apart piece by piece, but we were in a similar situation. There wasn't information out there on these individual pieces, at least not enough, and so I had to sort of do the same thing I did on the previous piece. So I created this thing, or I nailed it down and named it. That's all. I don't want to give myself too much credit, but it's the principle of negative definition. And so I'll bring that one up as well because it's not live here the way I have it.
Okay.
The principle of negative definition. It's just the same thing like I was telling you. You're shooting at a target. The overflow, the overspill, tells the story. How hidden systems reveal themselves by their consequences. In any complex society, there are systems designed to be seen, public-facing institutions with visible roles, rules, and outputs, but there are also systems meant to stay hidden. These don't announce themselves through press conferences or policies. Instead, their shape can be inferred through the distortions they create. See, now this is not something that's, this concept, let's look at the presence of items in space where we can't see them, but we know that because they're creating issues in space. Space-time, gravity issues, these sorts of things. And this is essentially the same sort of an idea, but it's being used with informational purposes. This is the basis of what we're calling the principle of negative definition. The architecture of a hidden system can often be revealed more clearly by its distortions, its edges, and its consequences rather than by a blueprint. Rather than searching for internal documentation or waiting for someone on the inside to go public, this principle focuses on effects. What anomalies does the system produce? What contradictions persist? Where are the seams most visible? It's not unlike basically the approach that I took on the previous piece. The traditional avenues of information were not present here, and so I had to find something else. I had to make do, with what there was other than that. You know what I'm saying, Laverne? In physics, this might resemble studying dark matter, right? Okay, not by detecting it directly, by observing how it bends light and gravity around it. Like I was saying, in psychology, we often understand defense mechanisms not by what is said, but by what is avoided. In an institutional analysis, it's often the overcorrections, denials, gaps, and misdirections that mark the outline of something we're not meant to see. Detecting the unseen. This approach relies on pattern recognition, skepticism, and a trained sensitivity to side effects. If official narratives change subtly over time without explanation, what remains constant? Well, I'm not going to get into the rest of this. It does get a little technical. I thought it was going to be shorter than this, but I'm thinking of a different piece. But anyways, it does pretty well spell it out, and it's something now that, I promise you, I did not come up with this. This is something that's so ever-present everywhere, it just, nobody bothered to write it down, put a name on it, and stick it on the shelf, and that's all I did today. So, but now it's there to be used, and I've been using it a lot lately, to be honest with you. Like I said, just today on two articles I used it. So, yeah. Now, there is one more, but I'm going to save it, I think, for the next one. But I recommend that people take a look at it and read it themselves, because it's, I might be able to add more to it for the next show. But it's important because, and I want to thank, again, the person that brought this to my attention to write a story on it. The story is called Countermeasure: Conscious Interference with Brain Decoding Algorithms. What he had shown me was an image that showed ABC reporting that the mind can resist being read with these technologies. This story was released in 2017. So I went and tracked it down. I found a couple of false ones first, but finally found the one that it came from. And it actually comes from a peer-reviewed study from 2013. So I put the story in there, found the initial abstract, linked that as well, and that's the short one that I was thinking of. But we're gonna add that one for the next week to talk about, and then I'll see if I can add some more to it. Make it a positive one that's about our own empowerment, kind of a situation. How's that sound?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. All right, so now the articles are done, and I apologize, you guys. I just wanted to run through them because there was a lot of work, and I want everybody to be able to get get a good look at some of that. Some of it I think could be important. I don't know. I'm better at coming up with it than being able to determine always, the rest of it. So I just put it out there and let people do what they can do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by the way, Aloysius is right next to my side. Were you able to get the video to come up?
Nope, still not, but I hear.
Well, now you got me worried.
Yeah.
Are we live or are we not?
Pressed on the link. No, it took me to target an individual with connections HQ Havana syndrome, but I'm not getting the picture.
Oh no. Well, let's see. I've got 10 things here. Let me see. Likes my post. Live video. We're getting people giving us thumbs up on the live video. So to me, that's enough evidence. I'm sure if it was a middle finger, they would give that instead. But they only give them the option for the thumb, Laverne. So what are you gonna do? Yeah.
You know what? I just pushed it again.
Yeah.
It worked.
Okay.
At this point, it worked.
There must be a delay, though, right?
A long delay, yeah. I've been trying since the beginning.
Yeah. Well, now I'm on my video page and I can see myself too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a still shot.
Oh, it is? No, I've got live video over here, so.
Okay. Well,
nothing but the best.
Things happen.
Yeah. That's all right.
Things happen. Okay.
So I wanted to mention a couple things. You guys see this stuff on the wall behind me? That's needlepoint type stuff that my mother made back in the 1970s. I remember when she did that.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it comes up. It's something that I should change. Like, I moved back here with my father because he's elderly and he needed help. And at the time, I was doing better. But now I'm in just as bad a shape as he is. And so, we're both screwed. And you would think that, I meant to take things down and change it, but my mom passed while I was here, and I just can't bring myself to take the stuff down. So it reminds me so much of her, and so I just leave it up. I just wanted to mention that. You're like, why has this guy got that stuff on his wall? Because because my mom made it, and I love it. So
that's right. So keep it.
Yeah. That's all that is. So the Buena Vista Social Club. Yeah. That sounds so, and I got a couple of images too, but you guys won't be able to see them. I have no way of showing them to you, I don't think, until the end. So, but yeah, they're pretty cool. And now I want to watch the show, because I'm a musician anyway. I'm a guitarist, and it's a bunch of Cuban, and I like international music. I absolutely love it. I listen to it all the time. So, yeah, it's a good match for me. So you've left me talking, Laverne.
Yes, I do, every time.
I know. So, but so it's been a couple days only. But what can you tell us? What do you know good, as Marvin would say?
Well, the bruises that they had put on my arm from IV and everything is finally going away. I have except for one, which is really, really dark. That one's still on me, and it's just reminds me of the things that. We as TIs have to go through. There's not just what they're doing to us, but ordinary things like, when I had to go in the hospital, I'm not getting any younger, so they wanted to test my breathing to see why it stopped, not stopped, but why it's so hard for me to walk. When I walk, I lose my breath. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Not completely, of course, or I'd be calling the ambulance every day. But, so, I don't know. I'm still getting over that and trying to keep up with what you're putting out there. You do a lot of good things for the TI community.
Well, but
others do as well.
Thank you. But it's down to a couple of things that it possibly could be, right? That they're looking at with your health.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to share it if you don't want, but.
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
They're looking at my kidneys to see. They say that it's slightly scarred. I used to be a big smoker.
Mm.
I started in high school, so
Hmm.
that was many, many years ago, many. And it's a slightly scarred in my cinepoma, um, and also a cardiologist. So um, they're trying to narrow it down to see exactly. They have mentioned heart failure.
Mm.
So that's it is a serious matter. So
Indeed.
sometimes sometimes I'm not so focused as I should be, but I
Right.
try to do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess I wish they would change what they're doing to you at this point, at the very least, and you know what I mean, so we can keep you around.
Yeah,
Damn it.
thank you so much. It's just, but I go on living every day, you know, and I have like I always like to say, I have the Holy Spirit within me. It makes me feel great, you know. I don't I'm not getting as upset as I was before when they started the noise campaign, and sometimes it's both upstairs and on the streets with the motorcycles. I like to do that with the motorcycles a lot. And, so I'm just you know doing my best, trying to be the best me that I can.
Well, you do a good job of that. I don't think anybody's gonna question that. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. They today there's been a descending sort of a thing. I wake up, and when they wake me up, the one where I'm going to be expected to stay up, if you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying, and they dumb me down more and more. It's been a step down every day, and I think they want to see how I'm going to react, whether I'm still going to be able to write my articles and everything. Um,
Yeah.
but what they're doing is I'm still allowed the upper level thinking. It's just that what they're doing is they're dumbing down the regular stuff more and more every day. It's becoming very difficult.
Yes,
I
I
was
understand.
yeah, I was able to get through it today. I rely on my the artificial intelligence a lot these days. At this point, as it pointed out, I've trained it pretty well. It even kind of sounds like me when it's writing, although it's not as good, you know. But so I feel pretty good about that. I do double check its work. I go through everything, but I'm not able to write them all myself. I've mentioned this already, but um, as the step with every day, with every step down, I'm having to rely on it more and more. And then today, I don't know how many articles I got out. Let me take a look. But it seemed like it was less, and I know that there's a bunch that are there that would have gotten written if it wasn't for what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um, there was three today, but um, yesterday there was four. The day before
Okay.
that, three or four. I had six earlier in this week on one day, so it is that's still quite a few articles, and some of those are pretty extensive. But
Yes.
it's still nonetheless. It's by now. I mean, there's been days when I've had four articles by 9 a.m.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
So
Well,
we're definitely doing this, and tomorrow I might not even be able to get my hands to work. I might not even be able to, have the brain power to operate the computer, you know.
hope that's
But I'll
not
be
the
able to come
case.
up with theories. I just won't be able to
Yes.
tell anybody about it because, I can see that is what it seems like it's coming, So
Make
I don't
sure
know.
you make a note of it, man.
Yeah,
If you
wow.
can't type it right, type
Yeah.
it out, make a note of it.
Well, I mean, they set the bar kind of high with today's dumb down. I mean, or low, depending on how you look at it. If they're
Yeah.
really going to go to the same amount tomorrow, I won't even know my name when I get up. That's how
I
bad it's
understand.
been. Yeah.
Yeah. So bad it's going. Let's see. Let's hope that it changes.
Right. Hey, so the summertime. What was your weather like today? You said it was a little overcast and breezy kind of a thing.
Well, we actually got some rain today.
We even had
It's been
rain
over.
today.
Yeah, we had rain and lots of overcasts,
Hmm.
which I like. I love that.
I do too.
I like both. I like sometimes, letting the sunshine in. I'll have my blinds way up, so all the sunshine that can get in the house can get in. Then
Right.
other times when it's gloomy out there, I like that too.
I do too. It's cozy, isn't it? It's comfy.
Yeah, isn't it?
I
It's
okay.
so
Thank you.
cozy.
I don't understand how nobody understands this. It's
I don't
yeah.
understand.
Everybody gets
Yeah,
together around a fire, or has something nice and warm to eat around the TV and gathers family style.
exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
I'm
So
right there with you on that one.
that didn't bother me any. You got out once today, I think.
I
You
did.
said.
I got out there to smoke my cigarettes. Uh,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
I like to think that they're healthy for me because they get me to go outside as a target individual and get a little bit of sun on my skin. I don't know whether that's true or not. But I
yeah.
don't smoke the whole thing, just so you know. I smoke about half a cigarette at a time. I go through one
Well,
pack a month.
oh my
So
God, that
it's
was.
it's not that much, but it's still more than I should be doing. However, I don't think it'd be getting me out there if I wasn't doing it. So
Right.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
it will be something if I live long enough to eventually have an issue with cancer because of this. My guess
Oh,
is that
yeah.
that other things have a quicker claim to my life than lung cancer.
Yeah, I understand.
So, well, over here it was warm. It was warm. It may have been just as warm today as it was yesterday. Um, but like I said, I did get out there and got a little bit of sun, but stayed in. Mostly my cat was so cute today. I do have a cat. Her name's Graciela because she's so clumsy. Graciela is
What is her
Espanol
name?
for Grace.
Yes.
So, um,
Graciela.
yeah.
That is so cute.
Yeah, I heard this once before, but I think we name animals so that we know what to never ever call them again. You know what I mean? It's like you'll call your animal anything but the name that you give them. And that's true, of my cat. And I come
Okay.
up with some pretty good names sometimes. Now, I call Aloysius Aloysius. He would get offended
Yeah, the clan. The
if I.
clan is called Aloysius.
Well, it's a proud family, so you can't mess around with that.
Oh no.
He would get offended. So, and I don't want to do that. But the cat, though, I can just call her basically. I call her Cat. Yeah.
That's what my son did to the cat that
Fuzzy.
he had. Yeah.
I call her Fuzzy.
Oh, fuzzy. That's another one. That's another good one.
Um, well, I like to go out and make really obnoxious sounds around my cat. They put up with it.
Reaction or what?
I don't know why. It's just part of who I am.
Mhm.
You guys, that's kind of. I'm a little silly. I don't know if you picked up on that by now, but it's how my brain operates best with the descriptions of the cognitive traits that I have. They work best when I'm scraping the edge of sanity. It's a common thing. It's not just with me. It's with anybody who has these cognitive
Yes.
traits, and so it gives me an excuse to just be a wackadoodle all the time. I get to operate. And so I do. I'm constantly. I talk in code half the time. Isn't that right, Laverne?
Yes, you do.
I'm just silly. I'm absolutely ridiculous, but great thought ends up coming from it.
Yes.
That's when I'm everything up here is firing on all cylinders. So I enjoy it, and I feel bad for everyone that has to be around it, and that's not a joke. I feel bad for the people that have to be subjected to it because it's a grown man acting like a fool basically. And then but if you can keep up with what I'm talking about, then it's okay. So there's some smart stuff going on, but yeah. I know that this stuff doesn't make sense, but the whole story. I do have an abstract out there about my brain, you guys.
It makes sense to you, though.
It does, yeah. And it makes sense to psychologists and anybody who studies the brain.
Yeah.
All this stuff it's par for the course. I don't like talking about this stuff. It gets misunderstood, and then people, It's all
Yeah.
legit, so I just try to skip it. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. My proof comes in its application.
Understood.
Yeah, and then even then, if you don't want to believe it, that's fine. I'm going to do the work for the TIs regardless, and I'm going to get things done for us. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And that's just how that's going to be. So,
We ain't going nowhere.
right, yeah.
We'll be.
Got something brand new for that A.
Listen to you. You were so cool. That's all right.
Yeah, well, I guess somebody has to be,
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But you know what? It is getting late. We're at 45 minutes and 33 seconds. We should probably
Okay.
we should probably call it in. Everybody probably left anyway. And I'm sorry. I think I talked even more this time. It has to do with the fact that they dumbed me down so bad.
I know.
I'm really out of it. I feel like I could pass out at any moment. It's that kind of a feeling where you're just sort of hanging on to your consciousness, sort of thing. Anyway. So that's why if I said anything silly or if I came across differently tonight, that would be why. Because they've really got me just boneheaded tonight.
Well, I think you're fine. I think you're just fine, Kevin.
Okay, so I did okay then? I didn't offend you or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
right.
absolutely not.
Okay, good. That means that we can have you back next show then, right?
Yes.
As well as Aloysius. So it'll probably be in 2 or 3 days. I like to get them out once every couple of days. I like to try to wait 3 days, but I can't wait that long. There's always material to cover. And then I just like to come and touch bases with you guys too, let you know that there's somebody working for you. And I don't know, and just let you guys know that we care about you guys, because we do. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes,
so
that's
that'll do it for
right.
us this week. Go ahead and say what you have to say. I keep cutting you off, and I don't mean to, Laverne. So
No, I was just saying that it's true that we really care about things.
Right.
We're hoping to have a broader audience as we go. I know Kevin really can jot down some good stuff, and it's worth reading and giving a thumbs up to. And I know some of them are long articles, but it's funny once you start reading and you realize the content and what it's, how deep it is and how good the subject matter is. You read a whole, couple of paragraphs within a minute, or so. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
it can get deep, you guys, but it is topical for the most part for targeted individuals, and so it's worth the juice is worth the squeeze, as they say, in my opinion. And
there you go.
but I'll just keep doing it, you guys. So let's say goodnight, Gracie.
Hey, good night, everybody, and I'm glad that you were here. I hope that you continue coming.
Yeah, thanks you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next show. Okay, God
Yes.
bless. God bless the
So God
TIs.
bless you, everybody. Bye-bye.